everything. You know what I mean? So that's obviously what they didn't do. But it's all good though. It's all good.
Well, all is well that ends well.
Yeah.
Welcome, everyone to the Seer Mastermind Show. This is our story, our journey, our way with your host, Majida Bay, Maurice Bay, and myself, Coach McCall Bay. Drop the tags. That's right. gets me charged up every time. I'm happy to see y'all today. Been a couple weeks. Yeah, it feels like it's been a couple whiles. Yes, indeed. We're in the fourth quarter of 2021. I know everybody's got their head down, close out their goals for the year, and helping others in our respective arenas. So let's go ahead, give us an update. What have you been up to, G? Tell us a little bit about your journey over the last few weeks.
Well, staying warm, obviously, because this weather is changing. What else?
Yep. Staying warm. All right. Woo! Let's light it up. Maurice, I hope you had some more exciting things.
It took me a while. Just come off the top. What is it? Off the top rung.
Note to self.
Yeah, no, mine is about the same, man. I ain't got too much to report on. My story is kind of the same. I hate to keep saying the same thing, but my story is kind of the same. Just mental bandwidth, man, for real. Mental bandwidth. That's been my biggest obstacle over the last few weeks, man. Driving a truck, being a truck driver, takes a lot of energy and time and all of that good stuff, man. So just managing all that the last few weeks, managing the schedule, working at night, and it's been real. It hasn't left me a lot of time to focus on anything else. It ain't really left me no time to really focus on YouTube or really anything else, So everything is still going great with my YouTube channel, which is good. I closed out last month with right at 1,500 in ad revenue. So my monetization, my ad revenue on YouTube, even though I haven't really been focused on it much in the last 3 months, it's pretty much been holding steady. I'm about to cross 40,000 subscribers. So, YouTube is still growing, but I haven't been able to put the time into it that I want to, that I need to. I ain't been able to give it the attention that I need to, man. It's crazy, man, because I could put a YouTube video out now, and that YouTube video could make me $200 a month the first month, $300 a month the first month, $150 the first month. It could make me $400 the first month, $300 the second month, $400 the third month. It's like I spend, an hour, however long I spend making that video, and every month that it makes me money, the amount of money that it made me as opposed to how much time I had to put into making it, like the ratio gets less and less and less. You know what I mean? So, but with driving my truck, man, the only time I get paid is when I'm in that truck driving, making, today making money. And when I get out of the truck, it's still coming in later on. You know what I mean? So I was talking to Yasmin about that, man. I definitely need to work on flipping a switch in regards to YouTube, man. Like, because my biggest thing is time. That's my biggest issue right now, man. That I wanna get my time back. And trucking pays the bills and puts money in my pocket, but I don't see trucking as giving me my time back. I see YouTube as the mechanism that'll give me my time back, but I need to approach YouTube like I approach trucking. You know what I'm saying? I was out all day today. I was with the DOT for 5 hours. Which kind of ruined my work day today, but I was planning on getting the rest of my work done today, but because I can't, I got to either get it done tonight when I get off of this podcast, which I ain't going back out tonight, or I got to cut my week short, which I ain't gonna do that either, or I got to go out tomorrow. You know what I mean? So that's kind of you know what I mean, that's kind of like I said how trucking is. You know what I mean? So it requires a lot of time, and hey, like I said, I got to figure out a way to flip that switch, though, man. I got to figure out a way to. I'm getting up tomorrow morning, regardless of what temperature it is, and I'm going to get that money in the truck. But when I get off, I might not make the video.
Mm.
Even though the most important thing is to make time to make the video tomorrow. You know what I mean? But that's the thing that I might not do. So I got to figure out a way to flip that, man, for real. I really do. I got to work on that.
That's interesting. I think that'll be part of what we're talking about today as
man.
well.
What's been going on with you?
What's been going on with me?
Yeah, for the last week.
So, last couple of weeks, focus has been on building my budget for next year. So we're coming towards the end of this year, working with my accountability group to build the habit of tracking what you're bringing in and what you're putting out. As we're focused on, our first step right now in our personal cash flow plans. So building cash flow, which, I identify as the difference between what you got coming in and what's going out over a period of time. And so, as we're going to be talking about what systems are, what systems thinking is. I actually took a class in college on systems thinking. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be. Let me tell you that. It was not what I thought it was going to be. And I don't know too many everyday people that are using that level of systems thinking. So I'm not going to bring too much of that into this conversation. But my focus has been on, I think this is something that's been one of the challenges for me, is taking my ideas after boiling it down to something that I imagine doing, because I love the ideation phase. Now I'm in the production phase, and now I'm looking around every day for help. Like, all right, this production depends on people. Like, people have to show up for me to be productive. So how am I meeting people? And it's been fun though, actually. Joining a couple of different podcasts, to be able to reach new audiences, meet with new people. Most of them have come through recommendations, which is kind of cool. So people are like, hey, have you heard about? And I was like, yo, let me go check them out. Or they'll be like, hey, have you met Bakar? And I was like, thanks, appreciate that. And then once they meet me, it's just like, oh my God, I gotta have you. And I was just like, cool. How long can I do this? Like, I'm the face thing. Because, when we talking about building systems and thinking about systems, like, if you're the face, that's constantly being active. Just like with you on YouTube, you've got to be active to produce those videos. But the videos nobody's producing that for you. You don't have somebody that's shooting your video and doing all of the work for you. Wouldn't that be cool? Maury, having somebody in the truck with you who could produce your videos?
I did. I was muted out. That's why I didn't say anything. But yeah, I'm shaking my head. Yes.
So what we do here in SEER is we help creative entrepreneurs, work with creative entrepreneurs, and provide support, encouragement, accountability, and recognition, or help them get better results. Right? That's what the SEER in SEER Mastermind stands for. So as family, as brothers and sisters, as entrepreneurs who are winding down into this year, anybody excited about the Black Friday, Cyber Monday? Y'all got anything planned for that coming up?
I want to get a TV.
I'm not talking about consuming.
Oh. Hey, but how about this though? Let me throw it out there. I want to get a TV to save on bills. So just throwing that out there. I don't want to just get a TV just because I want a TV. We paying $300 a month for a cable bill right now, but we don't have a smart TV. So we want to get a smart TV so we can get rid of the cable, because we don't really need that. Then we can access Netflix and all that other stuff right through the smart TV. And I feel like we should be able to get a nice size smart TV for on Black Cyber Friday for probably the same as we paying on cable, probably about $300. You know what I mean? So that's what that's about. Yeah, that's the Black Friday plan right there. Try to find a good deal on the TV.
And I'm gonna
keep some of that money in the household.
Have you? Well, I said I'm working on the budget for next year too, so I understand that. Have you run the numbers on that? That's interesting. Oh yeah. We ran the numbers. I mean, we haven't actually found out yet how much our internet bill, because we still need internet through Cox. So we haven't found out. You know how they do. They make they like so
typically, here's what they told me last time: the bill is $300. If you take off your cable and your home phone and just keep your internet, you'll still be paying $200, $250. You know what I mean? Like that's I might be exaggerating with those figures a little bit, but essentially we still ain't found out exactly what just the internet would be by itself. But I mean, I'm expected to be at least half. You know, probably no more than half, probably $150. But I mean, we paying $300 a month now, so in 2 months that TV will pay for itself based on the bill that we paying the Cox right now, man. And $300 is too much to be paying to the damn internet, to the cable company, man. Period in the story, and they know that. They know that. They know that, man. Well, yeah, that's the only Black Friday plan I got. I don't know if that's what you wanted to hear or
not. I mean, that's personal. I've been seeing a lot of posts over the last actually month, really, about why you need to have a Black Friday plan. I'm seeing a lot of that popping up in my marketing feed. You need to have a Black Friday marketing plan, a Black Friday plan. So let's just imagine tonight. We're gonna imagine before we get, because this is something that it comes around every year. People are expecting people to participate in this. When you agree, people are expecting companies to participate in this Thanksgiving sale. Right. So why not your business? Why not what you do? Right. Now, I don't know how that would apply to YouTube or how that might apply to your estimate company. I can imagine how that applied to my coaching, right? For a limited time, of course. So I'm really curious. What would that look like? You said no discount.
My value is not for sale.
So let's talk about that a little bit, and then we'll get into the sisters thing. So when you think of Black Friday, what is the value? What is the value of that event?
It's to promote people to spend money that they otherwise would not spend by offering them discounts on items that are too good to pass up. That's the way I see it.
Okay. Can you type that out? Because that was good.
Jumping jacks.
That was good. I like what you just said there. What's the agenda there? Promoting products that are too good to pass up, to get people to spend money. I'm paraphrasing.
Encourage people to spend money that they otherwise would not spend by offering deals that are too good to pass up.
Okay, you sound like you've said that before.
Nope.
No, off the top. That's fire. That's fire right there. So encouraging people to spend money they otherwise wouldn't spend by promoting deals that too good to pass up. So is there anything that you do that's too good to pass up?
Oh, it's worth the full value. 365 days a year.
That's how you feel? Okay.
They should be willing to pay more.
They should be willing to pay more. Wow. Maurice, you agree or disagree with that? Black Friday event. What purpose does it serve? And why is it something that's ingrained in so many businesses?
Because it promotes spending. It promotes.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. It's ingrained in so many businesses. It's a what's the word I'm looking for? It's an impetus to spend money, definitely. So yeah.
And I'm not saying don't take advantage of it if there's something like in Maurice's case, right? Like
you got affiliates and all kinds of stuff. You can go out there and be like, Black Friday. Just put the.
I was about to say, man, I don't
code.
I was about to say, I don't know. I mean, on my channel, I don't really see it. I don't sell anything.
Right.
And when I say I don't sell anything, I mean, I know I sell some stuff. I offer t-shirts and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But I don't really have a business, man. You know what I mean? So this is kind of more applicable to you guys that are offering products. You guys that are off, it's kind of, I would feel it's kind of more applicable to you. You know what I mean? Like I ain't selling nothing really on my channel.
I ain't offering no whatever.
Why you looking like that, bro?
I'm really curious about this counter narrative. So, okay, so I'm hearing on one side that for the businesses, right, that are promoting products, let me
help
ask you
them
this
reach
way:
their end of year like revenue
targets. Okay, so why not you? And Majida, you made a good point, but can you expand on that a little bit? Why not? Why is getting some of that not part of your strategy?
Because my strategy is for the year, not for the last 2 months. If I'm doing what I have to do throughout the year, the compound effect of that is that I will build momentum to where like the business generates revenue on its own. Like it doesn't need influx of capital or influx of revenue to like stay afloat. Like that's not a plan, right? Like it's not a system. I mean, I guess it's not a sustainable system because what happens when the deal runs out?
People stop shopping,
and then you got to run another deal to bring them back. Like I want them shopping all year round because the deal that they get is worth more than what they're paying.
So with your so you got the anti-Black Friday plan. You're gonna be like, you should be paying more. I love it.
I offer so much value that you think my regular rate is a steal.
Yeah, this time next year you'll be paying double. And every year that follows. Why? Because my value continues to increase. That's a really interesting take. Maurice, what do you think about that?
I mean, I was just about to say, I do think that you need to find a way to get, what was I going to say? It slipped my mind. I'm sorry. I do think you need to find a way to satisfy your potential customers' greed. I feel like every customer, even well, maybe not. I might not be correct on this. But I feel like you got to satisfy your customers' need, and a discount is a way to do that, right? Like, like customers are greedy, generally speaking, not in a bad way, but generally speaking, like they all want more than, they want more value than they're paying for. You know what I mean? So a sale, whether it's a Black Friday sale or any sale, is a way to try to make them feel that you are trying to satisfy their greed, essentially. But I think that's a necessary step. Now, I'm not disagreeing with what Majida said just now, but I do think it's a necessary step to satisfy your client's greed. How you go about doing that, it's up to you. But a sale is definitely one way to do that.
Hey, what's up, Yasmin? What's up, Paul? Hey, thanks for joining the conversation.
Yeah, I'm not against, and I wouldn't be. I personally don't feel like I would be against doing a Black Friday sale if I felt. I honestly what I do on YouTube, I just don't feel like it's that applicable to it. I could, I could make plugs and say, hey, listen, this weekend I got t-shirt specials or whatever. I mean, I could, but I don't really have my own thing that I'm promoting yet, man. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I don't really have my own thing yet.
So for you, it's having your own thing.
That would help. That would help. That kind of deters me from doing some of the things that I do, man. On YouTube, a lot of people, when they go live, they will put up their Cash App because they know that if a person just sends money through Super Chat on YouTube, then YouTube takes a percentage of that money. You know what I mean? Same thing with Teespring, with the t-shirt sale. So a lot of people feel like, man, well, when I do something, I want to do it. If my customers, if my clients, if my most loyal subscribers want to support me, like if they give me $10, then the $10 need to come to me. My objective is not to make the platform richer, even though I need to be a partner with the platform, YouTube or Teespring, but I ain't like they got enough money, man, for real. They got enough money. Like I need to be generating money for my own pockets. You know what I mean? So,
but they are adding value because they're giving you the platform to.
I would agree.
Exposure. You know?
I would agree. I feel like they get I feel like they get enough percentage off my ad revenue.
Right, like
they get enough of a percentage of that. Say it again. Yeah. They you gonna get a percentage of everything. You turn on your memberships, they're gonna get like 40-50% of your memberships. You know what I mean? You getting super chats, they're gonna get like 40% of your super chats. Any revenue that comes through YouTube, they're gonna get a percentage of it. And that's why people look to build outside. That's why people go to Patreon as opposed to YouTube, because they take less of a percentage. So that's always a bit of a deterrent, because it's like, you know, if my clients, like I said, my most loyal subscribers want to give me money, I want to make it so that they're giving me money, not so that they're giving Teespring money. I don't work for Teespring and I don't work for YouTube either. So again, that's a little bit of a bit of a reason why it's like, man, I don't really have my own thing yet. And I would be more prone to have sales and stuff like that if I had my own thing. I probably wouldn't feel like Majida. Like I'll create this digital product. I know how long it took me to create it. You know what I mean? Like the margins is 100%, and I can afford to give it to you for 50% less on Black Friday or whatever. I'd participate in it. I wouldn't feel like Majida.
I mean, I guess the other side of it is you can generate more value by offering the discount. But I'm always thinking about like sustainability. Like I don't want to do anything that I won't be able to maintain. Okay.
Mommy's talking. Zinga, let her talk. Oh, she needs to be in bed.
We just got home literally like maybe 20-30 minutes before the call. So
for you were saying
I'm about sustainability, right? Like if I'm gonna do something, I want to set it up to where it runs on its own. It ain't no gimmick. It ain't no one time only, catch it while it's that's too much energy for me, right? I'm speaking for myself, right? For other people, they love that. Yeah, I don't.
Oh man,
I got a question about that. And again, I don't want to.
Yeah,
I know this ain't the meat and potatoes of what we're talking about tonight, but
it is though. Trust me, I'm gonna tie it all in,
my man. How do you deal with triggers, Majida? And by triggers, you'll probably be privy to this information. I'm sure you've heard this before. So like scarcity, authority. What are some of the other triggers? Scarcity, authority.
You taking us in the psychology class, huh?
It's a few more that I'm thinking about, but I'm essentially going back to
a group dynamic.
Well, no, not necessarily. Like scarcity is one of those. Any marketer will tell you need to put scarcity in your marketing. Yeah, right. Because if what you're selling is you need to make it limited so that people will want to. That's a trigger. Scarcity is a trigger.
Which is what the Black Friday system is about.
Yeah,
we've got a limited amount of these things at this rate.
Yeah,
get them before they go back up.
So that's the question for Majida. And I know there's a few other triggers as well. I can't think of them right now, but I know it's more triggers than scarcity and authority. They won't pop in my mind right now. But like, how do you handle those triggers? And if I'm understanding you the right way, which is, look, man, I don't deal with all that psychology stuff. This is what I got for sale. It's actually worth more than I'm charging you for it. Like, do you throw all of those triggers out the window, or what?
I feel like marketing appeals to, like, and don't take this offensively, like the lowest common denominator. Like, they know that most people are emotionally driven and act based on their feelings, so they exploit that, right? They abuse that to a degree, right? They know people, right, like make decisions emotionally and justify them logically. And so for myself, like, as I've become aware of my triggers, it's having an alternate response, right? We can talk about the habit loop, right? If my habit is to, when I feel an itch to go spend some money, what's something that I can do in place of that that's going to serve me better.
Yeah.
And so that's the way I would approach business. If I'm always focused on how can I add more value, how can I offer this person more than they expect, right? How can I over deliver and over promise, or over promise and over deliver and under promise, right? How can my normal be so great that like people refer me, like the business comes through referrals, the business comes through the value that I add, the business comes through the results that I get, like that's what I want to speak for me more than I got a sale, So I think it appeals to the lowest common denominator and really exploits people's emotional or lack of emotional intelligence.
Or how people think.
Self-awareness.
Exploit how they think.
It almost sounds like a moral dilemma for you all. So
ain't no moral dilemma, not that part. I can hear that it's a moral dilemma for Majida, and I get that.
I'm saying I guess in a moral.
Yo, how about this one? Let me say this real quick. When I sold Kirby's, every house that we went into, we were trying to win a trip. Now the trip was legitimate, and the trip was the sale, right? I need X amount of points to win this trip, and if you buy today, I get X amount of points. So that was one of the triggers that we used. But the point that I'm making is every demo was a sale. Every house that we went into, it was like, listen, you like the Kirby, now the time to get it because I got a trip that I'm trying to go on. So I'll work with you right now on the pricing, that type of thing. So going back to what Bakari said, it wasn't no moral issue for me then. Every single house I went into, it's like, and then watch this. If the qualifying months for the trip, because we always had a trip up, but the customer didn't know that. So the qualifying months might be January, February, and March. So at the end of March, like you going in your houses March 21st, March 22nd, March 25th. Excuse me. You going in houses at the end of the month, your intensity level is really up. It's like, listen, man, I only need 300 more points. Like if you ever wanted to get a Kirby in your life, you got the right guy in your house, and now is the time to work with me, right? So it's March 31st, and that contest period is over. And you told the customer on March 31st, today's the last day of the contest. But what the customer didn't know is that April the 31st, another contest started. And the very next day, you be in another house saying, yo, listen, we got a contest going. And every now and then, you know what would happen? We would be in the same neighborhood on the 31st that we were in on the 1st. We'd be in Majida's house on the 31st, telling her it's the last day of the month. And on the 1st, we in her neighbor's house saying, look, we got another contest. Now, Majida is there watching us do the demo. Like, yo, didn't you tell me last month that y'all had a contest? And it was all legitimate because we all did have a contest. But the point that I'm making is it wasn't no moral dilemma. Nah, bro, it wasn't no moral dilemma.
and that sales has traditionally been that model, right? Like it's been that you leverage people's emotions. And I guess for myself, because I've made those emotional decisions that haven't served me well, so like I don't want to make other people feel that way. Like, buyer's remorse or whatever. Like I want them to make a decision and know upfront what they getting, and even what they expect to get, they get more. So like the cost never becomes an issue, right? Like I want to add so much value that the cost doesn't even matter. Like they'll give me the money in exchange for the value that they're getting, for the support or whatever it may be. So yeah, it's just, based on my personal experience. You're muted, bro.
I love that. I love what you're sharing there. I get that too. And I'm just thinking. So Maurice, one thing I noticed is that you got really, really charged up when you were thinking about those trips, those points. And I'm wondering, man, is there any way that you could bring that energy minus the moral dilemma into what you're doing right now? Because you talked about building the system. And maybe this is like, oh man, maybe when somebody else is sponsoring the trip, you get charged up because you're seeing added value for doing what you doing what you say you want to do. But is there any way that you could do something like that for yourself? A. B. I like what Majida is sharing about letting them know that they'll never pay more than what they're getting in value. They can never pay enough.
Yeah.
For what they're getting in value. And I had an experience with one of my clients this last week where they say, you know what, I made a decision. I was talking with some other coaches, and like I'm just like, okay, well, how's it going? Because like I don't mind that people go out and look for other ways to get what they need. But it came back around and said, you know what, I gotta stay with this. You know, whatever I gotta do, I gotta stay with this all of next year too, because I learned something. Or I noticed something that this year I did the same amount of work, but I had a greater income working with you, right? This is after months working with me, saying like, oh, after about 9 months, I've seen my income increase and I didn't do more than I did last year. How did that happen? Overpaid. I got to keep it's always great to hear your clients say, you know what, I got to keep letting the cash go so the rest of it can flow. So I understand what you're saying, Majida, from that point of view, where it's important to you to always be adding more value to what you do and never to shy away from it. You don't need to run a sale, right? If anything, it's like, here's a reminder, I exist too. Because I do feel like some companies do it out of desperation. They may be also companies that have high inventory, right? They aren't providing a service, but like product, they have high inventory. Hey, let's move this inventory for the next wave of inventory that's coming in. And the only way that we're going to move this is to get rid of it at a discount. Like I know people who exclusively discount, like real shoppers, they exclusively discount shop. Even my partner that taught me to go straight to the clearance rack. I didn't think like becoming a clearance rack shopper, if you do it enough, you'll find everything you need. And I'm talking, I've been to Lowe's. So the last month and a half, been helping with a renovation on a new house. And I've been to Lowe's more times than I have my whole life over the last month. Okay. But every time I'm seeing someone who consistently shops and has a sense of what is valuable to them. They said, if you can give it away at the clearance price, why would I ever pay full price if I don't have to, unless it's something urgently needed? And so, like, if it's not at this store, it's at another one. It's at another one. It's at another one. And we'll literally move and invest the time to find the deal. Now, that's not something that I'm traditionally, used to doing or have a habit of doing. But I've begun to see the value in thinking that way. Everything I'm gonna find, I can find it in clearance. Everything I need, I can find. I mean, I'm talking about stuff from 20 to 50 to 80% off normal retail value, right? But that's all year round. Those kind of deals are available all year round, not just for Black Friday. So that's on the product side, like selling the products. But with those that are providing a service, such as entertainment or information on YouTube, for you, Majid, I think in your industry, it's probably mostly about relationships and the need. Like the construction industry isn't going anywhere. So what you do to disrupt the industry and continue to add value, like that's not going anywhere. That's not going anywhere. Like that's not going to change. People are always going to look for somebody who can do the job for them, and there's a lot of people out there who don't have what you're offering, right? That's a slight plug. If you're in the construction industry and watching this tonight, you need to meet with Majida.
Let me get my license first, bro.
Just get them lined up. You know what I'm saying? Pre-order. You build the relationship now. Hey, what are you going to be doing? When I'm licensed, I will, I will be able to provide. Hey, baby. But I like that is being able to know that, and this is what I say all the time about what I do in coaching. What I do for you is priceless. What I do for you, I can put a number on it. I can work with you to a degree, right? As others have worked with me. But at the end of the day, it really is about what you value and how soon you want to put things in action. You know, when you can save people time, like what you were talking about, Maurice, you know, if I can show you a way to cut 20 years off of your plan by making some small tweaks, I'm not going to say the results that you are going to be there immediately. However, we will build in a strategy to double and triple, quadruple, whatever, 10x what you're doing steadily over time, but sustainably, like Majida, right? That kind of value is priceless. It really is a matter of what you value it as. But once you see the value of it, it's like, oh man, I don't even know what I'm getting. You know. And I love what ET talks about is, you know, bringing the highest, or what's perceived as the highest level of what is it? Of our not physiological needs.
Self-actualization.
Yeah, I know. Bringing self-actualization though down to the bottom level, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now you can't eat self-actualization, but is what people say. But what you can do with that is identify all the ways to eat. But anyway, that's another conversation. So as we transition from talking about the system of Black Friday and how that can or may not work with your business philosophy, vision, values. Maurice, you had a question this past week for us about system thinking. So tell us a little bit, why do you want to have a conversation about systems thinking and what is that to you? We'll kind of go around round table and see if we can get clear on what systems are, why you need them, what are the benefits, what are the limitations?
Yeah, so
I did
my issue that I'm having, I'll just talk about that. My issue, or one of my issues that I'm having, is I've kind of formulated the habit of, I'm gonna say it the first way, and I'll just kind of find my way through this conversation. I've kind of formulated the habit of thinking as a worker bee, thinking as a worker in my business. Which is nothing wrong with that. It's nothing. I don't see anything wrong with that, because there's nothing wrong with having a system that works and you taking a position in the system. I don't see anything wrong with that, right? But everything, and you kind of spoke about this earlier, everything in my, you know, if you're being self-employed and owning a business is two totally different things, right?
Absolutely.
Like self-employed is I mean, it's better than someone else employing you, I would say. But self-employed essentially is you own a job. That's what it is. And by own a job, self-employed means yeah. But by own a job, self-employed means that you own your job. Nobody else is employing you. You're not renting your job like essentially like you are when you're working for somebody else. You own it. You own the job, but you still only own a job, right? If you stop working, then the money stops coming in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas having a system in play is something where it's able to run. You may have a system that needs you to run, but essentially a system is something. It's a way that you do things every time, right? And the system that I'm talking about is a system that at least a bulk of it can run without me, or maybe without my direct input. Like right now, everything that gets done on my YouTube channel gets done by me. The editing, the uploading of the video, the producing of the video, the adding the metadata, all of that stuff. And I have a system in doing all of that stuff. I have a system. I have a system in uploading videos, right? I have a system in creating videos. Majida spoke earlier about how the things that she does, she wants them to be sustainable. When I create a video, I try to create it in a way my thing is, as when I binge watch somebody's channel and I go from one video to the next, I'm looking for the same, just more of the same. That's essentially what I'm looking for, which is really difficult for most creative people to do, because creative people want to create a lot of stuff, right? But when I'm binge watching somebody's YouTube channel, I see one video that I like. When I say here's another one, I'm expecting to see something very similar, probably even the exact same background, the same voice inflection, the same tone, maybe even the same length, just actual different words and different content, right?
Another one of those triggers, familiarity.
Exactly. So like, you know, like I said, I have a system of doing things on YouTube, but I don't have this. One thing I don't have is just 100 videos with the same theme. I might can sustain it through 5. So I'm thinking about that, right? I'm thinking about that. When I'm thinking about video ideas, I'm not just thinking about video ideas. I'm thinking about also, like, I'm thinking about the whole, it's like, I want to create a series, essentially. And I don't want to do one video with me out of, even though I do this, I don't want to do one video with me out of the truck, one video with me in the truck, one video with me sitting on the porch, one video with me standing in front of the truck stop, because that's kind of getting away from a person just wants to see more of the same, right? So that is, I kind of got the system down in that part. I understand what my audience likes, and I understand the quickest way for me to conceptualize the idea, record it, get it out, edit it, and upload it. I kind of got a system to that part. But again, it all relies on me. And it is more of a one-off type of thing. I would feel more blessed if I had the ability to think about content in the form of batches, as opposed to like today. I spent probably about maybe about the 2 hours that I was waiting today. I waited more than 2, but at least 2 of them I was trying to do a video. Whereas the beautiful thing would have been if I would have had 4 or 5 videos to do, and I could have done them all right then. But I spent about 3 hours trying to do one, but I didn't get the one out. But I was only thinking one. But even after I spend, you know, whatever time I spend getting that one out, I gotta come up with another video. I gotta come up with another. It's a one-off process. To me, it's a worker bee mentality. It's not a business owner. It's not a media outlet thinking, right? HBO ain't thinking about the one next thing. They thinking about the next series. They thinking about the next season. That's the type of things they thinking about, right? So my lack of systems thinking in that area, I think, also shows up in my trucking business as well, man. I drive the truck. That's how I make money. But it would be lovely if I could put a system into place in my trucking endeavor where it wasn't all derived from me driving the truck. Again, if the only, like, I own a job, but if I get out of that truck, ain't no money coming in. So it's not a business, right?
Yeah.
So there's a certain level of systems thinking that I got to get into in my business as well, right? If I got multiple trucks, I can't just be thinking about having enough work for my one truck. I got to be looking at places that got work for 2 trucks, for 3 trucks. You get what I'm saying? Same type of thing. Thinking in form of systems, as opposed to just one off thinking. So that's kind of what I've been thinking about it, where I am. And the reason I feel like I'm weak in this area is because I can see myself. I believe that it's showing up in those 2 areas, in YouTube and in trucking. I'm used to driving the truck, but like I said before, you know, if I want to have time, then I need to get into I feel like I need to get into the business of trucking. I need to have ways that I make money in trucking that don't consist of me driving the truck. And those things need to be systematized things that's happening on a regular basis, clockwork, right? So I believe I'm lacking in this area, right? And I believe I need work in this area if I want to take it from me doing all the work to me having a system that works for me. Like, I'm working for the system right now, but I need a system that works for me. And that all kind of starts with the thinking, right? Because if I can't see past the next one video idea, then I ain't gonna never be able to get it to the point that I'm able to upload 4, 5, 6 videos every week consistently, or even 2 or 3 videos every week consistently, till I can get past that one-off type of thinking. So I'll stop with that.
Good.
That's kind of where I am with that, man. That's what made me bring that up.
No, I appreciate you sharing that, because that's I think a dilemma that most people who are going into entrepreneurship, small business ownership, anything moving out of the employee quadrant, or even thinking about managing your life and lifestyle, thinking systemically, like when you go to the gym, what time you eat, how you do your grocery shopping, budgeting for this, for that. If you got children, when do you schedule time for events and activities? Like, those are things that can be systematized as well. Or it could be like, you're constantly in this state of urgency and everything's like a crisis, because you don't have a consistent way of dealing with challenges, or dealing with new problems. Right? You have to come up with a fresh solution every time, and that's exhausting.
Yeah,
that can be exhausting. So, Majida,
what up?
Talk to us a little bit about, what are some of the benefits of having a system as our resident air traffic controller? Tell us a little bit about what
not
are the benefits.
Air traffic controller anymore. She's the industry disruptor. We're gonna start plugging you with 50 names like we do with Bakar. Okay, Majida, this is coming your way next. Just letting you know, okay?
I'm becoming. I'm
that's a reference to the flight assessment for those that.
Yeah, I'm evolving.
I
went from, I was the financial conductor, then I became the financial coordinator. I'm like, no. I realized that, like, what drives me is disruption in a good way. Like I really want to disrupt the status quo. I mean, even in my thinking, right? Like, people need their
Black Friday. That's a disruption.
People need their thinking disrupted, like just kind of staying on that hamster wheel and just expecting things to turn out well like that. No, it doesn't work. So I definitely can relate to what you're saying, Maurice, because I've definitely been thinking a lot about that recently. The idea that I must, right? Like, I must create a system that works for me over, versus me working for a system. Because I realized, like, it's limited, right? Like, what I can personally do is limited. And, the phrase that there aren't enough hours in the day, like I don't mind working. I don't mind executing. I don't mind getting tasks done, checking things off the to-do list. Like, I don't mind doing that. However, my priorities and what's important to me, to your point, Bakar, like managing your energy, managing your priorities, requires systems, right? It requires, and I guess for me, it became particularly apparent that I needed a system after I had children. Like, before the children, I could do what I want when I wanted to do it. And I didn't necessarily feel the results of not, I didn't have the disruptions.
You didn't feel the results of not being that prepared at that point.
Right. It was kind
you
of
weren't concerned about being efficient. You were just focused on being productive.
Yeah.
And you could run into a wall every day and be okay with hitting that wall because nobody else was impacted but you.
Exactly. So once I had to consider, like, other people's schedules, and it really comes down to, like, knowing yourself. So, Bakar, I think you spoke about this earlier, or I think Maurice, about the idea of triggers. So when you were speaking about it earlier, I thought you were talking about, like, triggers with respect to, like, your energy. But what you brought up, definitely made sense in terms of triggers for sales and things like that. But I just realized this a couple of days ago. I had a conversation with a good friend of mine, and we were, I was talking about how, like, my energy gets drained from overstimulation. And I am most overstimulated when I get off of work, between the hours of 3 o'clock and 8 p.m., it's like nonstop stimulation. You know, during the workday, I can have time to myself. I can engage with other people, but it's usually one-on-one. That overstimulation from my children, I love them, but it drains me. And recognizing that helped me to realize that, like, I need a system to manage that energy drain, right? I need to figure out what's, because just being transparent, and I shared it on our accountability call this morning, or our call after the call. Part of my trigger, or my, he called it neural association, when I get stressed or overstimulated, is to grab a bottle of wine, grab me a hard ginger beer,
or some scotch,
something, right? And two problems with that, right? Like it's creating a negative result, and it's also modeling the wrong behavior, you know, in response to a trigger or a stressor. So yesterday we got home early, a lot of overstimulation, and I put my children to bed by like 7:30. I was just like, 7 o'clock, y'all going to bed. Like I'm done. One, I was trying to get on a call at 7:30. So I wanted them in the bed so they can get their rest and stuff. So they went down, were out by 7:30, and I hopped on the call with my coach. And then after getting off the call with him, like I felt energized. So I'm like, okay, maybe that's the trigger. Maybe the trigger is I have to get them down, have an adult conversation, right? That, you know, inspires me or motivates me, so that I can, because the most effective time for me to work on my business development is late at night, right? Like around this time after they're in bed. If I'm distracted, like it just takes longer to get things done. So learning that about myself, I was like, all right, I got to deal with the overstimulation. But he had suggested maybe having a schedule, right, that they're aware of, that they buy into, you know, like giving them more structure versus, all right, we home, y'all do whatever y'all do until it's time to go to bed. It's like, all right, y'all can help me make dinner. You can help me, you know, like get them involved so they're not interrupting what I'm doing. They're a part of that process. So I think that's a key part of systems, is knowing yourself, right? What trigger, like as an introvert, too much overstimulation. All right, so how can I structure my day? I've recognized, since I've been a part of Breathe University, is that the stimulation in the morning is good for me, because I'm slow to start, but once I get going, like I can stay in the zone. And so the morning calls is good stimulation, you know, because I'm getting up more so because I got to hop on the call at 6 o'clock more than I'm an early riser, because that ain't really my MO. I'm more of a night owl, as you can see from this show. I'm more of a night owl. And so how do I structure my day? All right, if I get up early, hop on a call, you know, get me motivated, energized, engaged, you know, get that stimulation. I'm making breakfast, lunch, getting the girls dressed, like all of this, right? But it's not during a time where I need to like use my brain, so to speak, right? Like it's just all this stuff going on, managing, getting people out of the house to get to school or whatever. And so once they're off to school and I'm by myself, I've learned through the DISC assessment, through the flight assessment, that's where I maximize my potential, working alone. So me working and being productive does not work around other people. So get the other people from around me and let me go to work. And I share with my coach, though, all right, I start work. So I've set, like, after I get everybody where they need to be, between 8 and 9 o'clock are the times that I make phone calls to my respective personnel, see if they need anything, check in with them, you know. And then at 9 o'clock to 2 o'clock, essentially, is my time to go ham, be in the zone, get my stuff done. And then from 2 to 3 is my, like, me time. Like, I may do work if I decide to, I may not, but that's time for me to just unwind and transition into 3 o'clock, get the girls off the bus, prepare myself for the overstimulation from 3 to 8.
I love that.
Because I get stressed or I get triggered by work, them interrupting me while I'm trying to finish out my workday. So like it just, trying to juggle being productive while my children are mommy, it sends me to the wine glass. So just stop trying to, like, I don't work well that way. So, all right, just embrace and accept that from 3 to 8, I'm going to be overstimulated. Then, I'm going to have to meet their needs. And then as soon as I can get them in the bed, I need to transition again to detox from the overstimulation so that my brain can then focus on being productive. So if the best time for me during the course of the day is, and I might give myself 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour. So I might get up at 9 o'clock, 9 to 10 or 9 to 11. I commit a couple hours. Now, last night I stayed up till 2 a.m. because once I got going, like I have a problem stopping. So learning to stop. All right, 9 or 11, so you can get adequate rest, and then you can get into, your routine for the next day. So yeah, it's for you, Maurice, like you talked about, like, all right, you're gonna be in the truck, and so driving the truck may drain your energy, and that may be because maybe you get energized around other people, and you're de-energized when you're by yourself, right? Like I'm the opposite. So knowing that about yourself, all right, if I'm de-energized driving in the truck by myself all day, then maybe I can create a transition to energize me after I get out of the truck, stimulate me to then do the video. So I don't know if I answered your question, B, but
I think you gave, I think you provided adequate examples of why, not just for business, but literally for your lifestyle. Not only having the system, coaching being a part of that system, energy management, your time and resource management. We don't think about some of the things that are in place just in our society that are part of systems, right? If we look at the universe runs systematically, everything in nature is on a system.
Yeah.
And we spend a lot of time, maybe not individually, but as a society and a culture, attempting to predict the unpredictable. Like, oh, here's when it's going to rain, and here's when you're going to have sun. Why do those things matter? Because for many, those different conditions affect their system. Like I've noticed during daylight saving time, this time of year, we don't get as much sunlight. And when I don't get as much sunlight, I'm not as happy. So I have to be intentional about being outside during sunlight hours during this time of year. I have to be very intentional about that. That means planning work outside, planning activities outside. The only thing that goes against that is it being cold. And I don't like the cold. So it's like, all right, I need more sunlight because there's less, but I also need warmth, which is inside. So like there's this cognitive dissonance. If y'all know what that means you have competing thoughts in your mind, right? Competing thoughts. Huh?
There's Barbados.
Right. Absolutely. Yes. So like this time last year, I was in California, and I didn't run into some of the same issues because every day, even though we had daylight savings, there was consistency in sunlight. And so I knew, and warmth. It was consistency in sunlight and warmth, right? Being on the East Coast, it's not the same. And I realized the environment for me has a huge impact on how I flow, right? And I work on about a 3-month schedule, right? That I modify and adjust, from quarter to quarter. So my system is built around 3 months to a year, right? Or 4 blocks of 3 months in a year. And I realized, man, I got about 10 months of like, go get them until winter hits. And I'm just like, I'm cold, ain't no sunlight. I need to be somewhere where it's warm like that because it dominates my thinking. It dominates my thinking, not because but I understand how environment primes me to be more or less productive, right? So that's a small variable. But when you're thinking about your business, Maurice, I think you bring up a lot of great questions. You have to start thinking about what would you be doing past being active in your business. And I'll give an example. I imagine having a coaching program where I focus on training coaches to provide a specific service or to administer certain activities and accountability, right? Where me showing up is not as important as having someone to show up and provide this information.
Yeah.
Right. It's just having that reliability, knowing that, hey, I got an open classroom over here where a few people are going to show up for you every day. So the classroom is always going to be open, period. It's always going to be open unless there's an announcement where it's going to be closed. But what else do you get with that? Well, one, you get modeling consistency, right? I don't have to be the only model for consistency on the planet. I don't have to be the only model for accountability on the planet. Yes, there are some unique things and perspectives that I bring to the room. However, those are things that can be taught to other people. Why? How do I know that? Because my coaching is evidence of it. I literally take what I know, what I learned from others, simplify it, boil it down, and be like, here's your foundation. And continue to build on this, and keep building your floor. That's literally what I do as an educator, as a coach. It's continue to teach. So my system doesn't depend on me long term. It's being built to outlast me. Right. This is one reason why, for the activities that I do that require me to be a part of, I realize like I have to give them a specific level of energy and focus. Because if I ever imagine changing out of those, I don't want to have this strong habit of being Mr. Overactive, and I don't know how to get out of it. Like I'm still imagining a life and lifestyle where, the last 2 months of the year, I'm only focusing on reviewing what I did this year and what I could do better. Somewhere where it's warm and sunny. Okay, like that's part of the system. So you gotta. What's that?
No, go ahead, finish.
So for you, and for those that are again building, it's what systems challenges people to do is think about the things that are happening, and what are the different pieces involved. What are the functions? What are the things that those pieces do? And how much are you required to do those things? Now, I think for any business owner, any entrepreneur, it's important for you to know what goes on in those businesses. Mm-hmm. But as Yasmin, our commenter, mentioned, she says she does well in systems. She does better in systems, but not great at creating them.
And that's where, like, in terms of a system, having a system that leverages the strengths of other people. Right. Mm-hmm. Like there's a lot of things that
like a honeycomb, a bee colony, right? That every bee doesn't have the same job.
And it definitely requires, like I said, an awareness of self. Like, all right, what are the things that I do well? What are the things that I enjoy doing? And so how can I marry what I enjoy doing with what I do well? And that's, so to speak, your sweet spot. Mm-hmm. And all right, what are the things that I don't do well? And what are the things that I don't enjoy doing? Who can I leverage and outsource those things to do? Right.
That's really great. That's great.
Even as I'm thinking about, all right, I'm starting a business and thinking from the perspective of a business owner, like it needs to run without me. All right, so in order for it to run without me, I can't create a system that requires me to be there.
Absolutely.
I know I have to be involved to set things up, to get everybody on track and make sure that they understand how the system needs to be run. But I'm planning it in a way that it runs without me, so that I can be involved as much or as little as I choose to.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
That's really good.
So one aspect of that, right, is human resources. All right, every business needs one, right? If you're going to grow, and all right, I don't have any employees. However, I know that I can get a dedicated HR rep or HR administrator, I don't know what the title is, for $99 a month through Bambee. Is $99 a month worth the investment to leverage somebody else to handle contracts, company policies, employee onboarding? Like, is that not worth $99 a month? So when I do hire someone, look, go talk to so-and-so in HR. They'll get you on board. And they'll manage all paperwork and make sure everything gets filed and in compliance with federal laws and all that good stuff. I know that stuff needs to be done. I don't know it intricately enough for me to do it. And I don't have the time to figure it out. When somebody who already has the experience and expertise, I can leverage for $99 a month. That's $3 a day.
Yeah.
But you know, that could be considered big. To keep in mind, the individual that is trying to go from worker bee to business owner at $3 a day might be huge.
No, it's not.
Especially if you couple it with other necessary systems that individual might feel they need in their business.
I totally understand that. So it's recognizing, okay, what systems do I need immediately to help me start to generate the revenue? Right? I'm going to have to do some work. I will have to do some work. But what systems can I implement that's going to free up my time the most at the best value, right? So $3 a day, I promise you, a person blows that. They can afford $99 a month, even as a self-employed, whoever, right? Because that saves you time.
If you leave your house, you're spending $3.
Right, but if you immediately need to hire people, how much time are you going to invest doing the onboarding and all of that? If you need to hire people immediately, how much time are you going to invest doing that versus paying somebody $99 a month? You sit down, have a one-time consultation, maybe meet twice, tell them what you need, or tell them what you need. They put it together, you review it, it's done, and then you send your 5 new employees, 10 new employees to them. Onboarding 10 people could take 2 to 3 hours per person at a minimum, right? Not including like interviewing and all of that, right? You could even outsource that part. So, all right, invest in $99 a day, $99 a month, so that you're free to focus on how can I generate
revenue.
Right, like it's mental.
That's the job of the CEO. Is how do I attract more customers and generate new revenue?
Right,
but I mean, if you think about all of the things that a new business owner needs to spend or needs, like the most important thing that needs to happen in your business is marketing. So and I know you're just giving human resources as an example, but I mean, again, just thinking back to the individual that is still the worker bee, like the most important thing they need to come into their business is leads. You need the lead generating system.
Okay.
Right. You need the human resources or the onboarding system, the training system. You need the promotional system. Like you need all of these.
Right, so but you don't need them all right away.
I agree. I agree with
that. I'm with you on all right. As a business, the first thing I need is lead generation. So what's the first thing I invested in? A lead generation software. Because I can spend a lot of time making phone calls and trying to make connections and network, or I can spend $1,600 and have access to a lead generation site where I can find and filter and customize it based on what I'm looking for. So I set that up first, right? That's the first investment. The first really investment, even before then, may be like
product creation, something deal with the creation of the product.
Well, I mean, if you're providing a service, right, or the product
nowadays they sell the product before they even make it.
Right. I mean,
or the service is like, oh, yep. Pre-sales, it'll be
ready. It may be first investing in a coach, somebody to help keep you focused and on track. All right, what is
help you order those steps too?
Right, and help you with ordering those steps, because that's I'll be honest. I'll be honest with you. Like I generally knew what needed to get done, but it was the coach helping me to focus on. All right, what's the next step? All right, what's the next step after that? Right, once you complete the one step, all right, what's the step after that? What's the step after that? And keeping you just taking, and sometimes I'm like, I don't feel like I'm where I want to be, but he's just like, you're making progress and you're setting up the systems so that once you are up and running, it runs on its own, right? It runs itself to a degree.
You don't have a bunch of fires to put out.
Right. I've already planned ahead. And part of that is, because I said with my air traffic controller, like I thrive on excellence, right? Like I want to do things well. So I'm thinking about, all right, what could happen, and what about this, and how do I plan for that, and making sure. So like those are the thoughts, but like I don't just let those thoughts run wild. I'm like, okay, that thought comes to me. How can I manage that thought so that it helps me in my business, right? If I'm concerned about compliance, right? And being, all right, who can I hire? Who can I leverage that's going to help me stay in compliance? Because I don't want to be thinking about compliance every day, all day, or worrying about, if I'm going to pay my taxes on time. Nope. I'm going to leverage $300 a month to I'm a CPA as the chief financial officer of the company. I'm going to outsource that. She don't work for the company, but I'm a client, and that person is going to manage and take care of those things for me. So that frees my, because when you talk about freedom of your time, in order to free your time up, you first got to free your mind up, which means you need to minimize the number of decisions you're making on a consistent basis.
Oh man, that's my job every day. What you just said right there is minimizing the number of decisions I have to make every day through the routine.
Right. Yeah. So it's just like, okay, kind of like I shared about my schedule, right? I understand how my energy flows. So let's set up a schedule that maximizes my energy, right? When my energy is high, let me make sure that I'm productive. And
I can't systematize my day like that.
Why not?
I'm glad you asked me that. Yasmin, I'm glad you asked me that. Yasmin told me today when I got home, about 4 weeks ago, I went to the chiropractor for the first time in my life. Maybe about 5 weeks. 5 weeks ago, I went to the chiropractor. She hooked my neck, cracked my neck, put the joint on my neck to give me the massage, and had my neck muscles doing all this type of crazy stuff. It was funny as I don't know what. I went like 2 or 3 weeks in a row. She had my neck feeling real good. I missed my appointment the last 3 weeks in a row. And Yasmin told me today, my wife, she told me today when I came in, she said, you got a bill from the doctor's office that you've been going to the chiropractor for. And I was expecting a bill for my copay, like $5, $10 or whatever, like that, whatever it is. And she was like, not for my copay, but for like my portion, whatever term you call that. She was like, nah, it's for missing your appointments. I missed the last 3 appointments. The reason I missed the last 3 appointments is because of my schedule. So like my schedule is not necessarily consistent. It's not the same. I mean, I didn't plan on working tomorrow earlier today. I decided to work tomorrow when I got held up by the DOT earlier today. You know what I'm saying? So like my schedule could switch on the fly. And like I've had to prioritize sleep because I drive at night. Like the last thing I want to do is be out driving sleepy at night. So it's like the most important thing that I feel the need to do is get my rest, is get my sleep in, right? But just because of just how I'm working right now and the amount of mental that you got to put into you, like driving a truck, you're on high alert all day. And that's tiring when you get home at the end of the day. You know what I mean? But just because of my schedule and everything, I just haven't, like I said, just going back to that chiropractor's appointment. Like I was telling her, I was like, my schedule might change on the, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna miss work or I'm not gonna go to sleep because I gotta go to the chiropractor's office, and now I'm out driving half the night sleepy because I didn't go to sleep earlier. Like I just don't feel like I have that luxury. Like
so would going to the chiropractor help your sleep?
Possibly. It helped my neck. I can say that. It helped my neck. But it wasn't that I made a decision the last 3 times not to go. I didn't consciously say I'm not going.
Mm-hmm.
It just didn't happen.
Did you have the chiropractor visits on your schedule?
Yes,
like on
I
your
did.
calendar?
I did. Yeah.
Did you have sufficient time to notify yourself that it was coming up?
The last one that I missed just because I was sleepy that day, just like I've done sometimes on the podcast. Like I was like, all right, boom, go to sleep for an hour or two, and I'll wake up at 8:30 on the hot podcast. I got a call from Margita at 9:15 talking about where you at. You know what I mean? That's what happened the last time I didn't go to the chiropractor. I laid down at like an hour and a half full time to go, and I ain't wake up till later on that night, man.
So what it seems like is you need some other accountability systems or some sort of assistant for somebody who can check in with you for those important appointments that are going to cost you. Not just those, but I mean any other important events like that,
stay on schedule.
To help you stay on schedule.
Or
but here's the thing:
your schedule so that
they can.
So like for example, could you go to the chiropractor after getting off work, like immediately after you get off work?
Not necessarily. Not if the chiropractor don't have no appointment that day for early in the daytime. I mean, it's kind of that factor as well. It's like when the chiropractor can see me as well as when I can get in there. And then like if I make a plan right now, or I make an appointment right now next week to see the chiropractor, and I plan on, okay, Tuesday I'm gonna be working at nighttime, but then something switches up with my schedule, and Tuesday I end up having to work in the daytime. I'm not gonna not work in the daytime because I got a chiropractor appointment set that day. I got to do what I got to do. You know what I mean?
So what's the amount of time that you have to cancel those appointments? Because I understand, like from a business perspective, if they've got time blocks and they're expecting cash flow, even with my tutoring, I have a cancellation fee that's for a quarter of the time.
Well, I told Yasmin, if they charge me for that, I ain't going there no more. Just throw that out there to you. Why would I? I went to see you twice, and now you trying to stiff me for $70 for not coming. You know what I mean? Like that's cheesy. That's even more cheesy than the Black Friday sale, G.
Well, but it speaks to
me.
It speaks to
a system, though.
They have a system to predict
missing.
To predict their income.
Yeah.
And so they book a certain number of appointments. And so because you don't show up, that's revenue that they miss.
I understand all that. I understand it. I'm still not going back though. I get all that. Why would I go back though?
Because you like the
I can find their service anywhere.
Okay.
I can find what they do anywhere. This addresses kind of some of the stuff that we're talking about. I can find what they do anywhere. What they do is not that exclusive that I can't find it nowhere else.
Agreed.
You know what I mean?
And that's where you don't value
the same thing wherever else you go.
Say it again.
You're going to run into the same.
You're exactly right. Which means I got 2 choices. I either got to find a way to have a more open schedule, which is less likely to happen, or I got to find somebody that's willing to work with my changing schedule.
So like a mobile chiropractor, somebody that come to you.
Maybe. Either way, the point that I was making with this is it's been difficult just for me to get on a routine of getting back and forth into the chiropractor because my schedule, like I said, switches so much. And like I said, the bottom line is
why does your schedule switch?
It just for a variety of reasons. Today, my schedule switched because I got stopped by the DOT.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? And just to go back a day further, today's Friday. So normally I work at night. Wednesday night I worked. Normally I would do 2 trips. Wednesday night I did 3 trips because I knew the place that I normally go to Thursday at night wasn't going to be. It's a long story. Let's just say it's a lot of variables in there that could cause my schedule to change. You know what I mean? And that is the main thing that I feel like is the biggest block in between me getting
schedule.
So let me ask you something.
Thinking in the form of systems.
Here's what a system could help you do is block out times where you run, and then you leverage those other times to other drivers.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what you mean. Maybe
I'm saying, so if you need to work at night, if you're driving, like, you can block out, hey, I'm gonna be the nighttime driver, and I'm gonna bring another driver in to be the daytime driver. That way I can predictably, now granted, you're getting a portion of whatever income coming in, but that's where you're thinking about this is if the trips have to move around, if you've got to be flexible with the trip, it's better to have someone else to flex into that space so that you keep your consistent schedule.
Yeah.
possibly if that person is consistent.
That's what systems thinking is about.
Did you hear what I said?
Yeah.
If that person is consistent.
Sure. But that gets into what Majida was talking about with HR and identifying, the right kind of people to do that work with you. So that's a mindset. And again, this is where when I do accountability, I don't think of just having one accountability partner. You need at minimum two, because if one person flakes on you, you still got somebody else that's showing up. Right. So understanding that, hey, I got a 2-person, you know what I mean? I'm not sure of completely how the system will work, but systems thinking is, what are the variables that I can control? And for the variables that are out of my control, how do I leverage others to cover those variabilities?
Because I
don't even feel like I got enough time to think about that. That's a great point.
I'll give you a good example. So I have a difficult time operating without a system. Like I get paralyzed if I don't have consistency. So this summer, right? My daughter's gymnastics practice shifted. She went from practicing in the evening at a time after I got off of work to practicing in the mornings. So do I shift my entire schedule to get her to practice in the mornings, which throws off my routine, which doesn't allow me to be, because at 9:00, that's when I'm like, all right, this is me time, let me go. Or I got to take her to practice. And while she's at practice, I got to try to be productive. And I got to stop what I'm doing to pick her up from practice and then get her home. I lose so much of my day adjusting to her schedule instead of what I did. I leveraged my brother, bro,
who has a flexible schedule and knows how to pick up what he does and shift it around. Like, okay, I just need, to move this here, move that there, and my day will continue.
So because he has a more flexible schedule, and that's something maybe like with, I don't know, your wife doesn't have a CDL. However, right, all right, what are some of the things that I can outsource? Her schedule is more flexible, so let her create the schedule that she has, right, with work around your schedule so that she can be available when you need her to be available, or she can assist you with certain things when, you can't do it alone, right? A system requires other people. Mm-hmm. And to your point earlier, right, the worker bee mentality, and I told you, I'm in the same space, the worker bee mentality is that I have to do it. And I think it was John Maxwell that says, a big vision requires, if you have a big vision, it requires a big team, right, in order to accomplish it. So I shared this a couple of days ago, because of where I see myself growing, I know that it requires more than just me, but I've been so conditioned to do it all myself. So now I'm look, I have people around me who love me, who support me, who care about me, who I support. So let me leverage those relationships to help me move the needle, help me to move things forward. So it's nothing for me to call my grandma and be like, hey, can you keep the girls this weekend? Or hey, can you keep the baby this weekend? Because I got, last weekend, my daughter had a gymnastics meet I was scheduled to volunteer for. So I can't be mom and volunteer for the 16 hours that I signed up for. Another story for another day. So, Grandma, can you keep her for the weekend? All right, Grandma kept her. I was able to do what I needed to do to support my oldest. Baby was taken care of. Now I didn't get to do anything for my business as I would have liked to do, but that was the exchange that I made, right? Being there for my daughter, that's a priority, right? That's where I would want to be more than me just doing work because
you have to be
because I need to earn dollars, right? Like the investment of time with her was more valuable than me, being able to create billable hours last weekend. So I doubled up this week and got the billable hours in. But like this weekend, I call my pops. I'm like, what you doing tomorrow? He might have a baby tomorrow, so that I can have time to do the work that I need to do that helps me generate the income at a time that frees me up to do it effectively, right? To be more efficient with it. Because I know that if I stay here with my children for the weekend, I will get 70, 80% less done than if I just leverage the people around me who are available and willing to support me to do the work. So
who's in your village? I think that's where you got to take inventory. When it comes to thinking about your system, Majida made a great point, is a big vision requires a big, a quality, maybe not always a big team, but a quality team who can be effective, efficient, and as she mentioned, fill in the gaps for the things that you don't do well and don't like to do, right? There are people out there who like to do those things and do them way better than you can. I'll be honest, I'm resistant to doing stuff that I don't like to do and I don't do well because I know there's somebody out there who does it better. When it comes to like artists and other work, like I'll go talk to them, maybe consult with them and be like, okay, how can I make this so that it's, and they'll be like, nope. Other times I just hand it off. You the creator, yes, I can create, but I know you do this better. So I'm going to come to you and I'm willing to leverage because it's not only saves me time, it saves me mental energy and work where I could be taking that mental energy and work and putting it toward the things that I do best and that really continue to add value to my life and my path.
Now, I want y'all to speak on something too real quick as well, because both of y'all have brought up a similar point in regards to outsourcing. You can say whatever you want. I mean, you can express whatever opinion you have on this subject. But I'm thinking, as I've heard both of y'all say that, and I want to do this because I want to make sure to get this point out before we close out the podcast, right? But I'm not thinking that like outsourcing is not a system. You both have mentioned. Hear me out. Hear me out. Just hear me out. And here's what I mean by that. Here's what I mean by that. A system is a way a thing works, and it works that way all the time. So as I'm hearing you guys speak about outsourcing, I mean, I understand there are benefits to outsourcing, obviously, but from what I understand about business, outsourcing is only going to be successful with proper training / documentation. So to outsource your job to a person, you still have to train that person to how you want things done in more cases than one. And if you don't have a process of or some sort of documented process that you have written down that those people that you're training is following, then when they stop working with you for whatever reason, you got to go outsource to somebody else and you got to retrain all over again. But keep in mind, we're not just talking, you guys aren't talking about just outsourcing one department, right? If I outsource everything that I can't do, I mean, I got a bunch of people working on my project, but it's still not a system, right? So that's how I want y'all. And I guess, I don't know whether you would agree with that or not. If you don't, feel free to express why. And if you do, I want to make sure you touch on this because as I'm hearing us talk about outsourcing, I want to make sure to make that point to anybody that might be listening. Like, in my opinion, outsourcing is not the system. The system is what's repeatable and what's duplicatable, right? And so it's a little bit more than just handing the work off to somebody else that creates that system in your business. So feel free to speak on that.
I'm gonna speak to the thinking aspect of it, and I'm gonna let my Gita take the practical side of it. Is that fair?
Mhm.
So from the thought process of I think you just laid out the thought process is outsourcing is more than just handing it off to somebody. It does require, attracting or recruiting people or connecting with people to collaborate with. It requires some communication and training, right? And maybe some consistent meetups or follow-ups or meetings, right? In order to make any adjustments that are necessary. So there is a relationship that is built when it comes to outsourcing. And that's not just saying that you're going to somebody outside to do work. It could be insourcing as well, working with people inside your organization to do the different job, or working with people inside your network to do those different jobs. So there is a recruiting process, right? That's just the people side of it. But the other thought process that you laid out there is I need to have written instructions to follow. So that's your first step there.
Mhm.
Is anything you do, and this is where a lot of businesses fail, is in documentation. Documenting what it is they do, what their process is.
Yeah.
And a lot of people say, well, I don't want to write what I do. I just want to do the stuff. Okay, then find somebody. Again, now you're going back to, if you don't want to do it, but if something needs to be done, you still find yourself either stuck, not getting it done, or going to somebody who can get it done for you.
Mhm.
So this is why I say when it comes to getting in a mindset of thinking about your systems and outsourcing certain work, is making it a habit to look for others who are qualified to do certain jobs, and building that into what it is that you do. So for me, it's like, I know anybody that I bring into my organization, at some point, I imagine that they were a client of mine first in some capacity. Or we had another relationship outside of it where they know my work and I know theirs. There has to be some sort of familiarity. Why? Because I run a specific system with a specific philosophy to that system, and I'm very intentional about the things that I do. So it does require some training. It does require some exposure, some familiarity. It requires you to do some things. And the biggest thing for me is having it written down for someone to follow. Okay, so knowing that, it's like, okay, one of the things that I've been doing most of this month, instead of producing content, it's been going out and writing up what's the system going to look like next year. These are the things that I want to do more of for me with the 168 hours that I have week to week. And these are the things that I'm going to find other people to do. And that's part of how I'm building my system, is figuring out what my capacity is week to week, what's going to charge me up, what's going to be most fulfilling, what's going to be the most productive, what's going to be the most enjoyable, right? What's going to give me the life and lifestyle that I want. And those things that don't fit into that 168, somebody else is going to have to do it. That's part of my thinking. That's part of my system. If I have to put all of that on my plate, I'll never have the life that I want. I'll never have the enjoyment that I want. I'll never get enough of it done. And I'll stay in the same place doing the same things because I don't learn how to leverage other people. You got to start looking at your life as, I have a limited amount of hours to live my life.
I think you probably hear me expressing that.
I hear you.
It's all about time with me.
Yeah.
So the answer is, it's not. It's going to take repetition. It's going to take practice. But once you create the habit of thinking, outsource this versus this is on my plate, this is on somebody else's plate. Oh, you know what? I'm not going to do that. So who do I need? You start asking the right questions. Who do I know that can do this? Or where can I go to get this done? And then you have a process to reach out, vet or qualify them, do some sort of onboarding. You could write out a simple, hey, I need to do this, or not I need to do this. What needs to be done? This, and this. When I identify something that's not on my plate. If you just want to say editing your video, okay, I can shoot my video, but who's going to put them together? I'm actually working on that with one of my teammates. They've been doing social media training. Great. So all I got to do is really be presented with the concept, record it, and upload it. That's my side of it. The rest of it is going to be taken care of somewhere else next year. Because I know I'd be better if I could do the batches of recordings or the batches of content and walk away from it. Because that's not the best use of my time. I get charged up when I'm sitting in front of people, having a conversation, working to a breakthrough, and putting some systems in place for them to follow through, putting some habits and routines in place and making those adjustments. I'm best in that space. So the more I can put myself in that space daily, the better I know everything I do is going to be. But you have to write it out. Okay, we're going to go back to your business plan if you have one. And if you don't, start there. What is my business going to look like? And then really identify, these are going to be my roles. And anything that's not in your role, but still needs to be done, who can I find to do that? That's the shift that you got to make. Like, I'm not going to do everything. I may have to know what everything is or go through the process to write out what everything is going to be.
Yeah.
Right. And if you don't want to write out, find a business model that's similar to what you want to do and copy theirs. Okay. Shoot. Like,
well, all the business models that I've found that are similar to mine seem to, Miles is one of the guys that comes to mind. Miles probably would deny it. I feel like he got more time to dedicate to what he building.
Who is Miles?
In the story? Miles Beckler.
Why does he have more time to do what he does? Does he have a trucking business?
No.
Then he's not doing.
He has a YouTube channel.
Okay, but he's not doing what you're doing.
Well,
his lifestyle is different.
Of course.
What other YouTube truckers are out there?
There's plenty of them.
Okay, how many of them got a manual for how they do what they do?
Probably none.
I think probably none of them. So guess what becomes really valuable on the market?
I'm listening.
A plan for how to do YouTube trucking.
And not if it's not a market out there for it.
No, there is you just identified the market.
How did I do that? I don't understand.
I said, how many YouTube truckers are there out there? You said a bunch, right?
Mm-hmm.
How many of them have a guide for how to do YouTube trucking? Probably none of them. So you telling me there's this whole bunch of people who have the same problem that you have and nobody's serving them?
No, that's not what I just said. Because everybody that's teaching you how to do that's not what I said. Because everybody that's teaching you how to do YouTube on YouTube is serving the trucking market and the coaching market and the TikTok market. Like everybody that's on YouTube coaching somebody how to do YouTube is serving that market. Bro, slow down. For you shaking your head, you ain't even listening to me, bro. You're not even listening to me. So watch this. Here's me prove my point. To learn how to grow my YouTube channel, I went to somebody. It wasn't like there was nobody to go to. I went to someone.
I understand.
Right? See this right here. Again, this is something that, again, I guess this is a good conversation because this gets into another. Okay, so we talking about time and mental bandwidth. Mm-hmm. And here you are urging me, I'm just joking with you, don't take it too seriously, but here you are urging me to go and create something totally different. You get what I'm saying? Like what you coaching, which is, I'm not saying it's a bad idea, but it's a whole nother thing. And I'm telling you right now, I don't have time to do what I got to do. And you say, well, go spend time to create something else.
I'm saying reallocate the time.
That is a major deterrent.
I understand how you feel.
See, watch this. I personally think, this is a side note, I personally think the business that an individual should start should be in line with the questions that you're being asked right now. Mm-hmm. So if everybody's asking you how to drive a truck, you shouldn't go start teaching people how to start a YouTube channel. You understand that?
But here's all right. So let me all right. I gotta cut you off right here because here's where, again, systems thinking, you're still thinking you have to do it. I'm here giving you the answer. Similar to how Majida said, hey, I can help you lay out and map out a system for what you need to do. The way I sat down and did that with somebody else, right? Then you sit down with Maurice and y'all had a little strategy session. Y'all got together for like 6 hours, right? You didn't have to do that. You just had to show up and give her the information. So what if, for example, I was able to ride in the truck with you for a week and just map out what this plan is? Do I have the flexibility in my schedule to do that? Quite possibly. Could it provide you with a resource to say, oh, here's what you need to follow? Absolutely. Is that going to come at some cost to you? Definitely. But what's the benefit is you get to leave that with a plan that works for you. And a bonus would be you can promote it and share it with others on your channel.
So we right back to the idea of me creating something totally different. Is that what you're saying?
No. You're not creating it. You're leveraging somebody else to create what you're already doing.
So you're saying you would create?
Yeah.
So somebody got to create it. Somebody got to
create.
Somebody actually go on the website, type in the copy, put in the buttons. You know what I mean? Like somebody got to do that.
And it doesn't have to be you.
I agree. But understand that in 8 years I haven't found that person. I didn't just get on YouTube last month.
Okay, we're not
8 years I haven't had that person. In 8 years I've been sharing with my closest friends my journey on YouTube. I ain't had a person yet that say, you know what? I believe in what you're doing enough that I want to say it again.
Do your closest friends have the skill set?
Regardless if they have skill set, they don't have the desire.
That's important.
It doesn't matter.
Regardless of if they have the skill set, they don't have the desire.
Okay. So
you need some other friends. You need a different network.
And that's what I'm saying. Where when you're in the mindset of outsourcing, it doesn't matter who my friends are. It matters who has the desire, like you just pointed out, and who has the skill set. Because somebody's out there with the desire and the skill set. And if you're not willing to invest in getting the job done, then you'll never get the thing done.
And building a relationship. So like even the idea of the general contractor, I reached out to somebody who has already shown evidence that they're willing to do the work. And right now, he ain't got to do nothing. I just check in and be like, this is where we at. He asked, there's anything he can do? I'm like, nope, I got this part. I am setting it up so that once it's set up, he can fly the plane. That's my job, right? I don't want to fly the plane. I have absolutely no desire to have the responsibility of flying the plane. It is all him. But I will make sure he has clear instructions on how to fly the plane once it's ready to fly.
So you may need to spend a few weeks or a few months with somebody who can help map out a system for you. That to me would be a really valuable investment where you get the time that you want to work on your YouTube videos. You have the appropriate amount of time in the truck to provide for yourself, or you're able to leverage other truckers to do that part of the work for you, which will free up your time. Because right now, we're not talking about just YouTubers. We're talking about YouTubers and truckers coming together in one world. That's what your life is right now. It's a YouTube trucker father, husband. Okay? You need a plan for a YouTube trucker father, husband. A simple YouTuber's life is not going to match that. That makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
So the system you need for your life has to be a unique system. However, there are others in that demographic who are parents, who are spouses, who are truckers, and who are on YouTube. And guess what? If they don't have a plan to manage the hours to get out, to get more time, if they don't have the
strategy.
Yeah, if they don't have the strategy, the person that comes up with the strategy is going to fill that need in the market. Is going to be the first
say
one.
This again. You and your sister, Yasmin, are so much alike. Yasmin will say, I'll say, so babe, you trying to tell me this? And she'll say no. And then she'll come right back and try to tell me that. So I just now said to you a minute ago, I'm like, all right, so it sounds like even though I'm saying I lack time and all that good stuff, you say, okay, the solution is to have something else created and then you say no, and then you say have something else created. And that kind of I'm not saying
that doesn't require your time.
That is the falsest narrative that I've ever heard in my life. It all requires time.
Your time.
You cannot grow your time. It may not take my time. It may not take me all my time, but it all requires the words that throw me off. Some of the words that throw me off. Some of the words that throw me off the most. Some of the words that throw me off the most that a person says. All it takes. All you gotta do. False narrative. Like
I would agree with that. It takes time. I promise you.
It does take time.
So kind of to the point that I made earlier. All right. Your husband,
we going long tonight. Let's go.
Your husband, your father, you are an owner operator, and you're a media personality, as you so eloquently said.
You got that a couple of weeks ago, huh?
Yeah. So you have all of these hats that you wear, right? All of these various roles. All right. Just something to consider. Do you decide when you put on which hat? Do you do you have control over when you put on which hat?
Not always, no.
Why?
Because I got to do what I got to. That's a great question. Because I got it. The same reason that I'm not always in control of when I got to go to sleep. I got to go to sleep when I can.
Because you
makes any sense to you.
Because you made a decision to drive at night.
I wouldn't say because I made a decision to drive at night. That's a characteristic of most truck drivers. If you're dealing with a client, I don't want to get off subject because I want you to finish your point. But if you're dealing with an ELD, which is an electronic logging device, a logging device lets you know when you can drive and when you can sleep. In other words, you got to go to sleep when that clock say you go to sleep. Sometimes you're in control and you can go to sleep when you want to go to sleep. But when you're not sleepy, but your clock says you got 8 more hours of rest time, then you can get going again. Like, you better find a way to get to sleep. So it's the same way with all the hats that I wear. When I come home in the evening, like, okay, yeah, I mean, you say, okay, do I decide when I put those hats on? I got to fit in what I can fit in where I got to fit in rest where I can fit in. I got to fit in my family where I can fit it in. It all has to fit around work, and I got to fit in YouTube where it fits in. And it don't always fit where I want it to fit at. It's just like this, like today when I was in the truck, when I was broke down. It's like, I can't just sit here and do nothing. I got to take this time and try to do something with it. You know what I mean? So I don't feel like I'm always in control of when I put those hats on. Yeah, I make the decision, but I got to put them on when I can. And sometimes I may not want to, but I got to put it on anyway. Just like the sleep thing. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes any sense to you or not.
Somewhat.
Let's schedule a session.
Somewhat. And I'm sharing this because I'm in a similar situation. Aside from the spouse, I work full time. I'm a mother. I'm not a media personality, but I have scheduled times that I show up online, right? Whatever. Scheduled times that I show up online. And I'm a chauffeur, right? Like all of these different hats, right, that I got to wear. I prioritize when I put those hats on based on what works best for me. I don't let the outside, right? Because we started the conversation. Before I had children, I could just put the hats on whenever I felt like putting them on. When I had to consider other people's schedules with my own, I recognize that I can't just put the hat. I have to schedule and organize my time so that it's most conducive to me showing up as the best mother, showing up as the best employee, showing up as the best self-employed business owner, right? Like, in order for me to show up the best, I got to put on those hats when it's most conducive for me with my energy and all of that. Now, I know trucking.
In order for me to show up the best, I'm going to let you finish. In order for me to show up the best, I have got to make a decision. I got to make a decision to be the great father or the good husband, irregardless. So it's a little bit different than what you said just now. It's like, you know, you make a time when to put those hats on according to when you show up best for that role. But I got to make a decision to show up as the best, whatever that role is, regardless of if I got time or if it's the best time for me or not. The best time for me to spend with my children might be in the evening. But if I work in the evening and the only time I can show up for my children is in the daytime, I got to make a decision that in the daytime, even though that ain't the optimal time for me to show up for them, this is the time that I got. And unless I want to waste it. So that's a little bit different than kind of what you said just now. Like I gotta make that decision regardless.
Well,
that's kind of how I feel.
What it sounds like to me is if you don't feel, and kind of back to the point of this whole conversation, right? You brought up the point, like thinking like a business owner. If you can't dictate your time, you're never going to be a business owner. You're never going to be in control. Yeah, like something. This
goes back to the root. Maybe we should have started talking about this earlier because we two hours in now. This to me is the biggest impediment standing in between a worker bee making it to an employee. Most of us don't control our own time. I think that's something that we have to deal with. Like, if you're fortunate enough that you have put yourself in a decision that you tell the world when you're going to show up and how you're going to show up, kudos to you. But most of us, we got bills to pay, and I got to show up when I can show up. And I'm not in as much control of my time as I would like to be. And the job that I do is extremely mentally taxing. So I'm not want to say it's no more mentally taxing than nobody else's job, but like some of us don't feel like we're in control of our time. I got to work my whole life around trucking, and most truckers that I know don't do nothing else. And I don't know whether they don't do nothing else because they feel like they make enough money where they don't have to, or most of them feel like I'm too tired to do anything when I get done in the truck. You know what I mean? But I
think that really has to come down to like clarity of what you want.
Yeah.
Doing what you have to do versus doing what you want to do. We
talked about this a couple weeks ago. Y'all remember that, right? I don't know if y'all remember that. We talked about this, and I was saying I didn't feel like I had the luxury to do what I wanted to do. As where in position I got to do what I got to do regardless. But go ahead.
Right. And I'm in the same position. Like, I do what I have to do, but I don't want to stay there.
Of course, I get that.
For things to change, something has to change. I have to change. So I can't keep doing the same thing and expecting a different result. What am I going to do differently? If I continue to allow things outside of me to dictate my schedule, to dictate my time, then nothing's going to change for me. How can I dictate my time better so that I can invest the time? And it may not happen like overnight. Like, so I think being aware that like, all right, I'm not where I want to be. However, over time, I can put things in place, right? So the systems that we talked about in outsourcing and building relationships, right? Yes, that takes time. However, if you do an hour a day, right? You spend an hour a day, 30 minutes a day, right? 30 minutes a day, I will invest time to help me move the needle closer to where I want to be. And in order to know where that is, you got to write down, what does that look like? What does my life look like when I'm not in the truck? When I can create YouTube videos at will, right? When I can, right? What is a day in the life of Maurice look like? Your ideal day, right? Maybe start there. What does my ideal day look like? I wake up at this time. I have breakfast with my family. I take my children to school. Then I hop in the truck, or maybe I make a YouTube video. Like, how can what will my ideal day look like? What does it look like now? And what's the difference? And what shifts can I make to get my day closer to my ideal day? If your ideal day, and to me, it sounds like your ideal day doesn't involve you being in the truck, because you already recognize that you're not necessarily energized by that work. Yes, it pays the bills, but you already know that you being on YouTube is more cost efficient, and you get a better return on the investment of time making YouTube videos. So would it be worth investing in? And you've already said that your YouTube is generating $1,000, $1,500 a month. You're telling me from the revenue that you're generating from YouTube it wouldn't be worth investing some of that revenue into working with an agency or recruiting agency to find a couple truckers that you can have on call to put in the truck when you need them in the truck, so that you're freed up to make the YouTube videos on a consistent, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the way that you can, because now somebody's making money without you having to be in the truck. You can put both trucks on the road. You can generate more revenue now because, right, but you might have to take the next 30 days, 60 days to develop a relationship with a recruiting agency that can find you a qualified driver who can meet that or serve that need, right? They don't want to work full time. They want more flexibility with their schedule. So, hey, you can call them up. Hey, I need a driver today. Boom, you know, and maybe you have to pay a premium rate to get that driver for that period of time. And then you can hire them on full time, whatever the case may be. It's like, there's the option of getting to your ideal day is available. The question is whether you're willing to invest what's required to get there. I'm not saying do something more than what you're doing, but you got to do something different. And you got to make the time to do it. So yes, I stayed up to 2:00 this morning because I was in the zone, I was in a groove, and I was able to finish an estimate that I wanted to finish last weekend. But last weekend, I was being present with my daughter. And that was important to me. That was a priority. And so I was supposed to have the estimate to the guy yesterday. I sent him an email. Look, I'm not going to have this ready. Is it okay if I just get you what I have and get you the rest? Well, for one, I didn't have all the information I needed. So that was actually a good segue to be like, oh, he's like, no problem. So I sent him what I needed to send him first thing this morning. Over the weekend, I'll finish what I need to finish to get him. And those are all billable hours that I can generate revenue. That's going to help, right? So I didn't lose anything. I was able to be present with my daughter. I was able to still meet the need that I had committed to, but I had to do it a day late. He got it a day later, and it was no big deal. So it's knowing you know that you add value in the truck, on YouTube. You know where you add value. You got to decide where you want to add the most value.
Yeah.
Because you understand that it's generating revenue. So would it be worth working less hours in the truck so that you can create more videos to generate more revenue?
Yeah, but I don't think I mean, I would have to figure this out, and I can't fault you for not knowing that. It's not that simple of a path, though. And I would have to figure that out.
Yeah.
But okay, if you want to stop exchanging time for money, you have to stop exchanging time for money.
Mm-hmm. Like you got to build the habit. You have to change the habit.
Yeah.
One small habit at a time.
I understand that. I think what I totally understand. That's the whole reason I brought up this discussion. Like going from a worker bee to go into a business owner. I think to summarize, man, I think the main thing that I would like to, whoever may listen to this, I feel that the transition from worker bee to business owner can be made, but ain't no two ways to put it. It's going to be painful. It's going to require sacrifice. It's going to take time, frustration, patience from you and from your loved ones around you. It may take some harshness on your part, some drawing of some boundaries.
Absolutely.
Like it's gonna be a lot of things that it can happen. It's gonna be a dog fight. It can happen, but like I hear Dave Ramsey talks about the fight that he had to put up to get out of debt. And he said to get out of the jaws of debt, you gotta be like the deer trying to get away from the lion. It ain't gonna be nothing that you can do casually. It's gonna have to be something that you like this is life or death. Absolutely, that type of deal. So I don't think that y'all would disagree with me. It's nothing that y'all said that I disagree with. I just don't want to. I don't want to pass over. Yeah, exactly. And I don't think that
we're sugarcoating
I don't think
it,
you are.
but I think what we're emphasizing is at some point you got to make up your mind to do something different.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing that's going to build you momentum, evidence, and activity
And then
in the
get around
direction
other
that you want to
people.
go.
Get around other people who are doing what you want to do, not specifically, but who are also making that transition, and figure out how they're doing it, and have those conversations, and get in the environment, right? Like those are going to make the most. And you might have to stay there for a while. You might have to stay in the environment and stay around those associations to really figure out like their mindset, like why is it that they
I'm
don't
telling
like
you, at least 3 months.
like
At
the
least.
even this this what do they call it, moniker, like the industry disruptor. Like I just will not be denied. I refuse for somebody else to dictate to me what I'm capable of. So that's what moves me, right? Like that's what makes me, right, get up early, stay up late. Like no, you will not deny me of what is available to me, what I'm destined to do, right? Like I will not be denied. I won't, right? Like I'm the only person that can tell me no. I refuse to let somebody else do it. So like that's a mindset, right? Like the industry disruptor, we're gonna stick with that one for a while, right? Like that's my mindset. I will disrupt my industry because I will not be denied.
So I got an idea for our next show. I can tell y'all right now.
Yeah.
I think we should talk about mental roadblocks. We can get more specific on what aspect of mental roadblocks. But I got something that I'm thinking about right now, kind of like the next. If we could continue to talk right now, this would be the next subject that I want to bring up behind this. So yeah,
let's do it. Write it down. Get in the habit of
dealing with mental roadblocks. But yeah.
Oh man, I'm looking forward to this. I have fun with this every day. Every day. Cool. Invite me on that one. I'll pull up. All right, Mensa. We'll see you for the post Black Friday special.
And I'm gonna tell y'all right now, y'all know me, man. Like I bring receipts. I don't just be bringing stuff. I bring real life stuff. So it ain't gonna be easy. I'm gonna hit you with some roadblocks right now. So like, if you think you just gonna come on and say, "Hey, you got to get rid of the mental roadblocks and be positive and strong," and you think that's gonna, I got something for that. So,
bro,
come with your A game. That's all I'm saying, brother Mensa. If you're coming, come with your A game, big bro.
All right, well, hey, this has been the Seer Mastermind Show with your industry disruptor, your helpful trucker.
Give you a plug, a joint, just like Bacall.
And the plug.
I'm evolving. It's evolving, right? I was the financial conductor for a while.
He the same thing. The same way.
No, he was like a lot of things at once. I'm evolving into.
No, you're evolving. He's clarifying. Same thing. You know what I mean? Same thing. Yo.
No, those are all the hats that are on my rack. Those are all the hats. What you need? They say a jack of all trades, a master of none, but still better than a master of one. Hey, that's the whole quote, by the way.
You just made that up just now.
I did not. I promise you I did not. If I had game like that, I wouldn't be here. Okay? That's the whole quote. So yeah, just putting all of those gifts. Hey, when you gift it, you gift it. You know what I'm saying? You got a whole lot in the toolbox. You be like, all right, what are we using next? But it's cool. It's cool. You make it all a part of your identity. And next time, we'll talk about those mental roadblocks that you created. or maybe that we're putting in front of you. That we're putting in front of you. Maybe some of those roadblocks you were conditioned into. Next time on the Seer Mastermind Show. Good night, y'all.
This is not a scary